Good Sunday afternoon, CTM Monarchs. This is Dr. C coming to you from the principal's office on this sloppy and rainy Sunday afternoon. Here is the Monarch message for the week of August 22nd through 26th. Last week was a great week. We had a lot of learning happening. It was our first full week. If you want to see some of the cool stuff that was going on, be sure to check out Dojo if your teacher uses Dojo, or Snap School if your teacher is using that, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter feeds to see some photos from around the building. This week, school-wide, teachers will begin transitioning their focus from relationship and classroom community building to instruction. Of course, those two things will continue to course through the entire year, but what we do at Coleridge Taylor is roughly the first 2 weeks of school. We focus really intensely on relationship building and building classroom community. This week will be more heavy on instruction, reading, writing, math, science, social studies. So you should see some of that, and your kids should be talking about those things. As a reminder, pre-K tuition is due on Monday of each week. Please make sure you turn that in on time. Parents who do not, their child's tuition will cause an interruption in service, meaning they will not be allowed to come to school until the tuition is paid. So please help us out by handling that each Monday. A reminder, parents, we need your help reminding students about our school-wide expectations. We call them the Monarch 3, and they are on the screen right here. Kind words, kind actions, hands, feet, and body to self, and stay in area. These are the 3 things that students will find themselves most often getting in trouble for if they have a behavior issue with me or Dr. Mathis. So remind them those are the school-wide expectations. Teachers also have expectations, and we have some specific area expectations that we'll be discussing with students over the course of this week. Another reminder to parents, please let your child know if they see something that happens at school or in class or on the school bus or on the way to school. If they walk to school, they need to tell an adult, see something, say something. We want to make sure that everybody is safe, happy, and learning, and we can't do that if we don't know what's going on. So please ask them and remind them to tell an adult if they see something that shouldn't be happening or something that breaks the school expectations. They need to tell an adult. It's important. Another piece around this school-wide expectation bullet is that we talk about home rules and school rules with our students. If you came to the parent orientation, you know that I mentioned this as well. Please know that there are things that might be acceptable at home. Everybody has different home rules. Everybody has different expectations of their children at home. But we all have school rules at Coleridge Taylor that don't necessarily match with home rules. And while we will never tell a student to disobey their parent, what we will ask is that students follow school rules. And if school rules are rules that might not be upheld in your household, we understand. But one of the important things about growing up is knowing that there are different places and different locations where certain behaviors are accepted. For example, we talk to students about the way that you behave at a wedding or a funeral is much different than the way that you would behave at a sporting event. The way that you behave in the grocery store is much different compared to how you would behave at the park. There are different rules for different locations, just like there are different rules for home versus school. Sometimes they overlap and sometimes they don't. So to that point, if you ask your children to defend themselves by hitting, at home, that might be a home rule. At school, that is not a school rule, and there will be consequences for those behaviors. If you have specific questions about this, you're happy to call me or email me and we can talk. A reminder about dismissal information. Please make sure that your child's transportation is consistent and make sure that you communicate with the school and the teacher early of any emergency changes. We need you to call the school and also let the teacher know through the way that you all communicate. Otherwise, we need you to follow our dismissal policy. And I'm going to pull that up real quick so that we can roll through that. Remember, if you drive to school, you need to be dropping your child off in the car rider line. If your child walks to school, only students that walk to school that should be walking to school are the students that live in these areas: Beecher Terrace, Village West, Hampton Place, City View, and the 11th and Jefferson apartments. If you drive to school, you need to go through the car rider line. Otherwise, the students that are walkers are listed as those who live in that specific set of apartments. Again, our car rider line, you go down 11th Street, you enter through the car rider line, you drop off right here. This is what we call the CEP door, and somebody will be there to catch your child and get them into the building so they can have breakfast. Again, if you're a walker, walkers should only enter through the front of the building. Early pickup is strongly discouraged because we want to make sure that students are in class and learning and that there's an orderly dismissal. We have a cutoff time. So this is the information that we want to share with you about that. Any transportation changes need to be made by 2:45 p.m. the day of the change, at least. Please know that our main office and building are closed during dismissal each day. And dismissal we start getting ready for dismissal and making sure students are back in class from wellness, from office visits that they might have, or any of those things, recess, special areas, by 3 p.m. So students will be making their way back to their classrooms and getting settled for the day and getting prepared for dismissal between the time of 3 and 4:05 p.m. And thusly so, our office will be closed for early dismissals and pickups. Any early dismissal that is not excused will roll into absences by the minute. So please know that that is the situation. And when you come, we ask you to kindly, calmly, and respectfully and patiently wait outside of the building until 4:05 if you arrive during this window of time. This allows us enough time to get all of our students where they need to be without distractions or dismissal issues. And this policy was updated last year twice and has been issued more than once this year. It is also posted on our door. You must have an ID if you're coming to pick your child up early. And please make sure that you are masked when you come into our building, because currently that is the rule in JCPS. So again, if you are coming into the building, visiting the school, make sure that you have your ID and your mask. Those are the rules. Car riders and walker parents, if you're picking up in either of those locations, make sure you have your orange card ready and your ID in case we need it. And then the next piece is, I already addressed this to a degree, but please be patient with our office staff. We are currently very short-staffed. So if you are coming to the building, please give yourself plenty of time. Please know that we are short-staffed in the building as well. We have all certified spots filled, but not all of our normal classified spots filled. As you know, I've been sending out lots of messages about helping us find people who would be a great fit for some of the roles in our building. So if you're coming to the building, please have patience with our office staff. I wanted to share some amazing news. I'm really excited. This past week, our building was surveyed and measured so that we could have some new classroom audio to support learning. There is a video link embedded. I'm not going to watch the entire thing, but if you go to YouTube, you will be able to see that there is a 2-minute video about the type of technology that we'll be getting in our classroom. So click that link and check it out. As a reminder, last week I shared the Broadway Arts Academy link. The Broadway Arts Academy is offering lessons for piano, trumpet, violin, flute, and voice. And they have certified teachers that work in schools around our community. So please know that that is a great opportunity for students. The information is listed here and the phone number is also listed. And last week in the 11th hour, I added this piece around mental health support. So if your child needs counseling or your family might need counseling, we have opportunities for support here. Please do us a favor and go to this link and complete this mental health counseling request. Someone will reach out to you within 24 hours to follow up around that request. We want to make sure that all of our families and all of our students are supported. So please check that out. And then lastly, I already referenced this, and you're probably getting tired of hearing from me on Facebook, Twitter, and School Messenger, but we are looking for some great employees and some great staff. And we are desperately seeking some individuals. We are in need of an attendance clerk. Miss Cook's last day was this past Friday. She's moving to a school that's closer to her home, and we will miss her greatly, but she is taking care of her family and herself, and we need a great person to join our staff for attendance clerk. We also need instructional assistants, permanent auxiliary teachers, and a SAM, which the last 3 items will likely be reposted. You can apply on the JCPS job list. The attendance clerk, it's important to know that they must have a high school diploma or GED and some clerical experience. Those are important. Some of the other pieces can be trained on the job. The ECE instructional assistant must have a high school diploma or GED, and they must have a passing score on the Kentucky Paraeducator exam, which can be arranged through JCPS's hiring office or 48 college semester hours. They also need to be willing to help students with disabilities and support them physically, including positioning, toileting, and lifting. And then our SAM qualifications. The SAM must have 60 credit hours in college or university program. They must have experience in a clerical role or a large organization that is similar to the size of JCPS. And we would really like them to have access and experience with some state rules, JCPS processes, but that can all be trained on the job. We also have positions for permanent auxiliary teacher that will be reposted hopefully tomorrow. And then finally, we have Montessori instructional assistants, which will also be reposted hopefully tomorrow. So if you have specific questions about any of those roles, please let me know. You can always reach out to me via email. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. We're going to have a great Montessori week around these parts. If you need something, please reach out. Dr. Carmichael out. Peace.